This is Alpha. Contact point out. Phase 2. Direction north. 400 meters. Out.
Today on American Outlaw, drones. We know that they're no longer the In our scenario today, we are the QRF team, Quick Reactionary Force. We had somebody come into our grid, a high-value target. It is our job to be able to get them. We have our own air support and we have our own ground support. Some of the intel that we want to know. Who are we chasing? In this case, Mike Jones, Grand Thumb. What do we know about him? He's about 6 foot, probably 190 pounds, in incredible shape, very fast, well-trained. This is stuff we want to make sure that we know and we understand. We start adding up his military background in SEER. That's the thing. He knows how to evade. So we're dealing with a professional. What do we have to do? We have to be cognizant. We have to expect him to J-hook us. We have to expect him to set a trail for us to follow and a trap when we do. We don't know if he's going to fight. He has the ability to fight. We know his weapon systems. We know that he has a 40-millimeter grenade launcher. This makes it to where he's dangerous from further and we need to spread out more. He has the mountains as his terrain. If he's in the flat ground, we can catch him pretty fast because we've got vehicles. Vehicles make catching people a lot easier. I know sometimes we think that, hey, we're at 1,000 yards or 1,000 meters and we might take a shot. If you have a UTV, you're on them in about 2 minutes. You can't run fast enough. We take the advantage of knowing a grid where he is and being able to push up on him faster than he was expecting us. He takes an advantage that he knows we're coming. He can see us, he'll be able to hear us, and he'll be able to set a trap on us, so we have to be ready. Where do we start? When you have your HVT and you have your drone, you don't immediately push your QRF team to them. You start by looking at the grid, you start by looking at your map, you start mapping out where do I think it makes sense for him to go. So we go to his last known location. You can send the QRF team there as soon as the drone is set up, the drone is secure, your pilot is secure, because remember, your pilot is going to be watching the GCS, and so they've got to have protection. You can't just leave him out there on his own, even if it's just one person that has nothing to do with flying the drone, and he's looking around making sure that the pilot himself is not getting ambushed. Lexo, I think he probably came up over here, but it looks like I could see where he was moving here. Let's cover the back. And I think he came up to the top of this hill right here. If we circle around him right here, we should be able to get him faster as he comes back on the other side. When somebody's running from you, they're going to change positions based off where you are. You have to understand that they're likely going to try to get up underneath the bushes. They're going to get up underneath the trees, or in some of this case, because the trees are so big, they're going to go around them. So you need to be able to get to where you can look, both with your binoculars. This is why it's so good to have a low power variable optic, because I'm able to look, turn the power up before I walk through here, and I can use this kind of a hasty measurement to be able to find somebody that I'm looking for. Now, one of the things you want to do is get to a very good vantage point. I'm able to watch him here, and I know that the Grand Thumb has taken off through this valley, and he's working his way up this canyon. So I get to a spot where I can have a big vantage point down the river on both sides to make sure he hasn't somehow picked up any kind of help, or he's not trying to J-hook me. And so I can't see him now, but I do know he's climbing this mountain because the bird can see him. I want to try to get away from him where I can get eyes on, and once I have eyes on, I can start directing assets to him. Another thing that's pretty dangerous is if you have somebody trained and they're running from you, chances are they will just stay in place, which is why you have to have the QRF team. I would say a minimum of 3 men, and there is no maximum of how many people that you put out in some sort of a pattern where you can maneuver on them, make an L ambush, where you're expecting them to J-hook back on you, and you're looking for them, you're tracking them, you're looking for clues, you're using thermals, binoculars, spotting scopes. You need to be able to get in the points that the drone can't see. You also need to protect those guys. The best way to do that is try to give yourself every single advantage by using the drone, starting your pattern, finding him before the team gets there, and letting the team get in place and the HVT come to the team. You guys need to remember that when you're looking for people, they're as smart as you, or sometimes smarter. They're hiding behind trees. Trees are three-dimensional. You have to look all the way around them. And so don't just focus on one path and not continuously keep your head on a swivel, because it's very easy for them to get behind a tree or behind a rock. And then you change your vantage point and you spot them. Another thing is you have to move as fast as you can see when you think they're in the area, because it's a game of life and death. And they have a jump on you. They're likely hidden. They've already stopped. They've already looked. They've seen. They smelled, they found you, they know you're coming, they know you're on the way, so they're gonna get the shot off likely before you, which is why you don't wanna do this by yourself. You need a team. The more the merrier. But something that's really important is you continuously look around you and never stop looking. It's pivotal that you're making sure you're looking under those bushes, because like I said, he's going to stop, look, listen, and smell. We have to do the same thing. We might be able to see something flashing on him, a compass, a GPS, a watch, his glasses, his optic. Sometimes it just may be a shiny portion of his gun. Remember that straight black lines don't exist in the woods. So if they just have a straight black gun, you might see their gun. All of this stuff comes in important, and you have to look very well and be vigilant so that you can find him. If you have the ability to have ATAC, you should totally have it. Civilian side, you can get bare tooth, and this works so well because I'm able to see my guys now on the recce team, and I'm able to see the drone footage of where the drone is exactly over the top of him, and I can tell you right now, Mike Jones is quick. Other things that's really important for us to take into consideration. We're in the mountains here. We're in these deep, deep canyons. The trees are probably 80-foot pine trees. The wind down at us right now is blowing probably 20-ish, but that means when it comes through these canyons, it's blowing somewhere in between 60 and sometimes upward of 80, 90 miles an hour. When you look at the wind for weather conditions, you have to look at it like you were pouring water onto a table with these mountains on there. So some of the areas will funnel down and they'll be pushing wind harder than others. Some of them you may not think the wind is blowing at all, and just as you crest that hill, the wind is blowing really hard. You likely in this scenario don't have a lot of drone assets. You probably have one, maybe two. They're extremely easy to lose, extremely easy to crash into the side of a mountain or get a tree. If you get a bad gust of wind, it's gonna take your drone, you're not gonna be able to get it back. So as the drone operator, you really need to be cognizant of your weather situations. We've already proven that freaking Mike is freaking hard to find. Like, he's fast, but what he's doing is he's using this small vegetation to get up underneath. And so when the drone can't see him from above, but we know we've got him to this about 500, 800 meter grid, thermals really do really well to get him. Another option, this is why I have this little, we'll call it the nutsack pouch, is because remember, not everything is CQB, and out here we need to use our hands. My other favorite option is the Sting IR. And the Sting IR just clips onto the front of your gun, and it makes it to where you have the ability to have thermal on your rifle. There is a couple of things though when you're shooting through thermal on your rifle. There's a small little delay. If you have a moving target, you got to aim double what you would normally use. You got to practice it. The best way to practice it I know of is on hogs. Usually by the time you see them, depending on how close they are, they've already seen you as well. So you want to use thermals for the distance. And then if you're up closer, you need to go ahead and just use your regular glass. But I love the two-tiered availability to be able to have the small Sting IR inside of your pocket and then the Voyage binoculars that automatically nuke, and they're incredible. They also record, so you can have everything recorded. You need thermals. It's really difficult to always stay super alert for drones. What happens is we get tired, hungry, a little lightheaded, especially moving through the mountains. We start getting dehydrated. We're carrying all this heavy load. If you look at him, he's carrying probably 80 pounds of equipment. He's moving very fast. He's going to get dehydrated rapidly. He's going to start making mistakes. We don't want him to know we're there, if at all possible, so that he'll start making these little mistakes, and then we've got him. One of the things that you can probably expect is your HVT to be looking for water. They likely don't have a lot of water on them, or even if they do, at some point in time, because they're exerting so much energy, sweating so much. Right now it's 105 degrees outside. The wind is blowing and it is an oven out here. You're gonna have to expect that he's gonna run through the water he has very rapidly, and he's going to come to get water. So staying and being cognizant of your water, knowing where it is on your map, will help you. So we've been chasing old Mike Jones around for a while. What are we supposed to call him? Mike Jones or Grand Thumb? I'm not even sure anymore. The mountains are freaking steep. It's easier to hide in the mountains than it is on any other terrain because they can get up inside of these canopies and man, they're tough. You just got to keep watching and you got to constantly flush them. Be a huge mistake if you didn't have a flush team because somebody that knows what they're doing just lays up under the rocks or lays up under a bush. But let's go over here and see if we can catch Mike and ask him what he thought about it. Grand Thumb is the real deal.
Let's go.
Hey, listen, he's freaking hard to catch. The pilot that we had right now flew at the highest levels inside of the country for, I think, 17 years. And his exact words were, "Damn, Mike's fast." And then he said, "I've seen better."
Probably from the Afghanis, dude.
the true mountain goats. But Mike he's incredible, and he was super hard to find. How, in your thoughts, how hard is it to run from a drone?
Well, I think what's difficult about a drone is you just don't know, right? So there's never like a moment you can relax when you suspect that there's a drone on you. So it's like you're just constantly in this really kind of high threat evasion posture the entire time, which is what makes evading drones so difficult, because it's like you have to be on your game 100% of the time. And even if so, you can still be spotted. So it's just like, it's kind of chance, you know, whether or not you're spotted. There's some skill to it, but if you're doing everything right, you can still get picked up. It's just like, if you're gonna die, man.
As one of the things we talked about as the video has progressed is when they have vehicles like the UTV that we had, we were able to get to him faster than it took him to get there. And then when he started using the steep mountains, like, I don't know if you could see how sweaty all of us were. Like, it was tough keeping up in the steep mountains. So he did a really good job of creating space from us there and being able to outrun us in the mountains. But you got to think about that stuff, and having other teams that were coming on you, depending on how high of a value target you are, you could just run into somebody else that you didn't see. So yeah, when you have a drone, there's a very good chance you're just not making it out of that. But dude, appreciate you.
Hey, thank you, man.
It's fun.
Appreciate you bringing out like $1 million worth of drones.
It was fun. But stay tuned for the next one, guys. We got something cool coming.
Hey, guys, don't forget to watch the what is the channel called?
American Outlaw.
Lost American Cock.
Mark and the gang at AGM Global, I appreciate you very much. You made a lot of the thermal work happen here so that we could chase Mike around the woods. So guys, if you're looking for top-notch thermal optics, go no further than AGM Global.